So, what do you think the importance is of early voting?
Well, I think it's maybe a really trite, obvious thing to say, but it's convenience, if you can't show up on election day, it ensures that your voice is going to be heard, and for whatever reason, especially I know when you're in college, anything can come up, and you become preoccupied with even if it's something social. So it's an opportunity to make sure you've just done it, and just kind of get it out of the way. And it's like I said, it's a lot easier to do in Iowa than most states, so it's worthwhile. Worth doing.
Why do you feel that you personally can connect with student voters?
I don't know. I feel I'm tremendously, for a 34-year-old, immature, and I feel like I don't feel that far removed from when I was in college. Something happens when you're an actor, and you don't necessarily have to grow up in the same way other people with real jobs do. You get to kind of stay in this arrested state of development for a little while. So as a result, I feel like I was just in I do feel connected in that sense. I also remember so clearly what it was like. I left school early, but I don't know. I identify with any sort of student loan issues and paying for tuition, and these were things that I struggled with. I grew up in a very middle-class home. I grew up with good parents, Catholic parents. They were, I think, taught me some modicum of compassion, and these kids all seem to possess that. College kids, they're turning out for a really good cause, and the one thing I didn't have with them, in common with them when I was their age, was any kind of awareness, any kind of political awareness, or any kind of altruistic, bone in my body. I was pretty self-centered, and then I saw what my uninformed vote did the next 8 years. So, and also, I guess from their end, I've done a lot of the movies I've done have been kind of skewed more toward kind of college movies, and so yeah, I guess I would say that's. I can't speak for them.
Yeah.
You gotta ask each one of them individually.
I will do that.
Compile some figures, and then get those back to me, because
what do you think is the most important issue to you?
For me personally. I said this to somebody in Virginia. We were canvassing, we were registering early voters, and some guy came up to me. There were all these cameras around, and he said, he asked the same question, and I said, well, the environment. That's the one that I feel is the most pressing concern and the most potentially catastrophic, and he jumped all over me. How can you say that with the economy the way it is? And I recognize that the economy is definitely in need of help, and is a huge issue in this election. But I mean, when you look at what's happening in the environment and global warming and how dire it's gotten, I think you might be inclined to agree with me. And so I have my own reasons for siding with the president on that issue, and I have zero reason for siding with Romney on it. They just haven't really acknowledged it. It's just scary.
We're going to have to wrap up.
Okay.
We're going to head down to the hall.
Awesome. Do I have time for one more question?
Just one real quick.
Yeah.
If you could say anything to students, what would it be?
To students?
Yeah.
First of all, don't take your time here for granted, and inform yourselves, and inform yourselves on behalf of the future, because they are the future right now. And I guess that boils down to just getting out and voting and taking part in our democracy, just exercising your voice. I would say in a more succinct, eloquent way, ideally. And I also, just being here on a superficial level, makes me miss college. God, it's the best time, and it's a special time because it's the one time in your life, the last time really, where you can be selfish, where it's and I don't mean that pejoratively. Like you are supposed to be somewhat self-indulgent and figure out who you are and what you want and who you want, and that this is where you cultivate an identity. And all of my good friends I met in college, and the person that I think I've become I formed in college, and it's the best. It's the best place for something like this too, because it's a place where discourse is not only open but welcomed. It's really embraced, and so it's nice to see it in practice here. It's not just in theory.